Morning. Good morning. Should have cleared my throat before I did that. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Delia Jackie Hope Glass, Mama Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates 93rd District. It is an honor and a privilege to be with you on this December 19th. Wow, here we are. Here we are, fresh face and all. I'm like, let's go. Because the countdown is on. I don't know if it feels like it for you, but next week is the holidays. I'm not a big old holiday person, but this is what happens. But today is the morning dew and certified doer. You are up. I'm only taking this last long. You are up, and we are at it. So let's get right into it because I know how y'all like to get in the conversation. Please do not hesitate to drop in the comments. If you have a question, comment, or concern, remember this is your time. Good morning, Mr. Little. This is your time, right? This is not, but I'm going to talk. But but this is your time. So don't hesitate to drop any of your sentiments in the comments this morning. Good morning, Miss Betty. Good morning, David. Good morning, Brian. Good morning, Flood Doctor. Okay, hello, good morning. Good to see y'all. Remember the comments are yours. If you got any events or anything coming on, please don't hesitate to drop those in the comments as well so that I can make sure that I share that information. Also, remember, if you like the work that we do, you can always contribute to this work. Part of this work is making sure we have an office that is able to serve you. So if you go to the link in the bio or go to deliajackieGlass.com, you can always contribute to us serving you better or invest in the work that we do. Okay, so today I want to talk about something important because it's about to be a huge piece of conversations between lawmakers and both the legislative and the executive branch. This is going to be something, and I know this thing that I'm about to talk about is important to you because even I'm like, yo, if we don't do something, all right, if we don't do something, it's a little crazy. Let's talk about taxes. Yikes. Yikes. Right. Let's talk about taxes. Remember this. Okay. So, hold on. This taxes is something that we pay, right? If you're purchasing things or doing anything, if you got a job that you're not getting paid at the table, you paying taxes. All right, you paying some kind of taxes, and it's also important. I think it's also important for folks to understand the difference between the different types of taxes, right? What is a state tax? What is a local tax? What is a state tax? What is a federal tax? And if you know, tell me in the comments right now if you know what taxes do. We're gonna go through it. Like, what do your taxes do? What do they do? This is our time, y'all. And I see I got some folks on here. Yeah, what do our taxes do? Because this it is coming. I'm gonna tell you personally. I know that within the last year or so, I've seen my taxes go up significantly, and it's been hard. It's been a challenge, but I think we've all kind of settled into the fact that there's something afoot and something's got to change and something got to go. Okay, so what your taxes pay for? And nobody said anything in the comments. Okay, listen. So let's talk about federal taxes. Just we'll know the difference, and then we'll talk about what's happening here in Virginia, and you're more than welcome. Okay, federal taxes, they are collected from us by the U.S. government, and they pay for the things that affect the entire country. So, for example, they fund military, they fund Social Security, they fund Medicaid, they fund the national infrastructure like the big interstates, they fund federal programs like student loans and disaster reliefs, or research and development like medicine or space exploration, right? And the people that collect your federal taxes are who be taking your federal taxes? Who know that? Drop it in the chat. It's a quick one. It ain't nothing but 3 little words. Who collects your federal taxes? Yeah, the IRS, right? So the Internal Revenue Service is the one who collects your federal taxes. How do you pay them? You pay them through your income, right? So from your paycheck or your tax returns, from your payroll, that's where you pay your Social Security and your Medicare, or from corporate split taxes, businesses that pay taxes on their profits. The key difference is that federal taxes are nationwide needs. They are the same for everybody, no matter where you live. Make sense? Yep, no matter where you live, your federal taxes, the taxes are the same. Then you break it down to your state taxes. State taxes are collected by the state government that you live in, where you pay for things that directly affect that specific state. And flood doctors, right? Supposedly recirculate back into society, affairs, roads, educations, wars. Yes, yes, absolutely. That is correct. That is correct. So your state taxes only do the things that affect people in your state, as opposed to the federal taxes, which is everybody. So public schools and state universities, state highways and transportation, healthcare programs like the in-state Medicaid, not Medicare, right? Public safety, like the state police, the parks, natural resources, and the people that collect those state taxes are actually just your state government. For us, that is the Virginia Department of Taxation, right? So walking with me, y'all. So we got the federal, we got the state. How do you pay your state taxes? And y'all remember your time, drop it in the comments. How do you pay your state taxes? You pay it through income, right? So out of that paycheck, if you're not getting paid under disabled, you pay it through sales tax. So when you buy stuff, the tax that's on there, you pay a sales tax, or you pay them sometimes through like a gas tax as part of what you pay at the pump. So there's a lot of different ways. These aren't the only ways, but these are a few of the main ways that we pay our state taxes. The key difference between state taxes are decided by state lawmakers. I'm gonna say that again. State taxes are decided by state lawmakers and may vary depending on where you live. For example, Virginia's income tax is different from Florida's income tax, which has no income tax. But just because a state doesn't have an income tax don't mean it's something different going on somewhere. Y'all got that? So David James Glass says, in Norfolk, real estate taxes have gone crazy, but the city services are waning. Code enforcement, street sweeping, law enforcement, all lacking. I'm in Norfolk, yeah, and I was hoping that when we had that hearing for whether or not we had them increase when everybody's properties values was going up, we would get some relief. But we didn't, and that could be frustrating. So let's talk about local taxes. So federal taxes, U.S. government, state taxes, your state lawmakers. Local taxes are collected by your city. You mean, but our butts are getting taxed. Okay, so local taxes are actually collected by your city, your county, or your town to pay for things specific to that community. Just like David was saying, if you can't see his comments over on Facebook and stuff, he was talking about in Norfolk, the real estate taxes being a thing. So what do the local taxes fund? Local schools, libraries, police department, fire department, some of the things David just said. Trash collecting, recycling, man, you hit them all. Local roads, parks, public transportation, community projects like building a new rec center, things like that. The people that collect them is your local government. So that city, that county, or that town that you live in. And how do you pay these things? Well, David's already kind of hit the nail on the head, is through property taxes, right? So if you own a home or you own land, you paying taxes that way. Through local sales tax, that is added on top of your state sales tax, right? So you got a local tax and you got a state sales tax. Then you have a special, sometimes we have special taxes or fees for like utilities or permits. And the thing about the local taxes, y'all, is that they stay within the limits of your city, your community, and that money goes directly to what affects your neighborhood. At least you hope it's your neighborhood, but mostly your city. And I'm starting here, y'all, because it's really important that we understand the difference. Understanding the difference helps you and me see who's responsible for services that you use and where to go if you have concerns on what changes. So federal taxes, you're going to cover the nationwide programs, but that may feel a lot less personal, right? Like, but it does. It feels a lot less personal. State taxes are tailored to the needs of people in Virginia. Local taxes are the biggest direct impact on your day-to-day life. And so by knowing what controls, knowing who controls what, we can ask better questions. We can vote for leaders who align with our priorities and make sure that our tax dollars are being spent wisely, right? So let's get into what's happening now. There's a lot of conversation going back and forth, and I'm just watching it like y'all. I mean, as a state legislator, understanding that when I go up to Richmond, which is about to happen, session starts on January 8th. So remember, the first Wednesday of the month is when I am, is it the first Wednesday? I think it is. Yeah, the first Wednesday of the month is when I am going back to session. And so, I am getting prepared and I'm watching the political climate, right? Like I try to watch and see what's happening with, what's happening in the Senate, what's happening at the House, what's happening at the executive level, and see what kinds of conversations to know to kind of know what am I getting into this session? What are going to be the big topics? And it's seemingly just based off the way the news is going is that there's been a lot of talks from leaderships in both houses as well as the executive branch about taxes. That's why I want to break that down for y'all today, because I'm going to do a little reminder. State taxes it's like a giant piggy bank for Virginia, and that money helps keep Virginia running, right? So to an extent, that's like I talked about before, public schools, public colleges, state colleges, fixing roads, public transit, public safety, health services, Medicaid, parks and recreation. And as a reminder, the types of taxes that we're paying in Virginia, right? Income taxes on top of your local, that was sales taxes. Income taxes is taken away from what you earn. Virginia has a progressive income tax, but regressive in other ways, meaning that the more you earn, the higher percentage you pay, but it's still these things are still disproportionate. On top of that, the sales tax that's added to the price of everything you buy. When you buy electronics, when you buy clothes, when you buy food, when you go to a restaurant, we're getting some of that money at the state level. Your property tax, if you own a home, that you pay that to the local government. That these are types of taxes in Virginia. Gas tax, part of what you pay at the pump, goes to fixing our roads. We had a big discussion. If you watch one of my transportation meetings, we were talking about how if we're going to allow localities to have these cameras and we're going to ticket people, that money that they ticket people needs to go back to road safety and not just into the piggy bank of the specific locality. So there's some leeway between the conversations that we have with how it work and corporate taxes. All right. I've already talked to you a little bit about federal versus state, but let me get to the comments because I'm seeing David James Glass says people are upset that taxes keep going up, but services are going down. Like the trash in the city is insane. 711s and convenience store, 7-Elevens. That forgive me, 7-Elevens. Got it. 7-Elevens and convenience stores are able to pollute the neighborhoods without repercussions. Yes, I understand. And that's part of the reason why we try to build a relationship seriously with the 7-Eleven about keeping it clean over there. It's a whole thing. And so it sounds like too that there's some conversation that needs to be had with the specific locality. And you've already mentioned your locality being on Norfolk. That's where I live too, about what's being put in versus what's being put out. The beautiful thing is that you your city budget, your state budget, the federal budget. I don't even want to go there. I'm just like, I'm still also wrapping my head around how to read where this money is going, because the budget tells you how we're spending our tax dollars. The budget tells you the priorities. So I would also lead with curiosity, David, too, on let me see that budget. You can always you can always get a look at the budget. Where are we spending it? And then what are the pain points? Because I remember last summer, I did a thing with a bunch of young kids at one of the local churches. Actually, shout out to Gethsemane Church. Every summer, they bring the kids in and they teach them all kinds of things to include civics. And the kid was like, yo, I called 911. I was like, what's the one thing that you want? And they asked me, like, how do we improve 911 services? For real. That was there. They were like, we call and don't nobody answer, and blah. Like, it was a thing. And in the hunt to figure out to get an answer for those kids, we realized, this was 2 summers ago, maybe, that there was a shortage, like a significant shortage. And then I called the Department of Emergency Management at the Virginia Department of Emergency Management, so at the state level, and said, hey, like, what can we do as a state to help localities? And they told me, hey, your city just received a grant thing from us, so there should be some things trickling down. You know what I mean? So, like, we have to get more curious outside of what's in front of us so that there can be some real accountability conversations, because we're feeling what's happening. And then who has time for that sometimes? So that's why we're trusting our lawmakers to articulate these things to us, or at least tell us why things are happening the way they are. If there's a workforce shortage, tell us that. If there is, and then why, right? Because that's the thing. So that's what, David, where I'm at too with some of the things, is I'm trying to lead with curiosity on why is it? Why are these things suffering? And I'm learning in some places they don't have the people. Why can't we hire the people? Then if we have is it we need to do competitive pay? Just asking from a place, and between your local elected and your city manager, because you're talking about city. Remember, most cities in the Commonwealth, except for Richmond, are weak mayor, strong council. So, like, we have a city manager that runs the city, and mayor that sort of manages council. So those are the best place to go sometimes for those answers, are to the city manager or the deputy city manager. Sorry, I was hearing bells. All right, so we have the difference between federal and state. I'm looking over here to make sure there's no comments. All right, we talked about the difference, federal, specific, state specific to state, federal specific. Oh, goodbye. Have a good one. The difference, so which DC does all the national. I think also it's important to know the difference about decisions about state taxes, how they're made by lawmakers in Richmond, and why federal taxes are controlled by Congress. This means that, again, your voice can be bigger and make a difference at the state level, because that's where I'm coming from right now, where or where you might know or vote for your representative directly. If you're a person that votes, I said might. The question always is who's paying more taxes, y'all? That's a real question, is who is paying more tax? And then the answer is it depends. People who earn more money or own a lot of property sometimes may pay more income taxes and property taxes, but the lower income families feel a bigger pinch, proportionately feel a bigger pinch from the sales taxes, because they're spending a larger percent of their income, which is why I think there's a lot of conversations about making sure some of the things we did to ease folks' pockets during the pandemic stay in place. I was watching, so we have a finance committee and we have an appropriations committee. The finance committee deals with all the taxes. The appropriation committee deals with how that money is spent, right? What types of ways are we getting the money or not getting the money, and how it's spent. And then there's a lot of conversations about things that we had in place during the pandemic, whether or not those things should expire. Okay, so it's a big deal. There's a lot. And it can be very difficult to get both sides, right? To get both sides of the aisle to talk about taxes, because we feel not very differently. There's sometimes, from person to person, actually, a difference of opinion about what about what or how we should tax. Now, so in 2025, just putting this on y'all, in 2025, the general said we might be talking about tax relief, right? We might be talking about we did before with veterans retirements, cutting taxes for certain groups, seniors, low income families. That is a possibility. We might be talking about tax increases, which I hear David James last saying, like, look, you show me something if you want to take raising money for bigger projects like schools or transportation. We might be talking about about tax reform, changing how or reallocations, changing how the taxes are collected to make the system fair. For example, maybe shifting the burden to wealthier people. Like, I think that's always in some people's conversation, but know that what it looks like this is a part of the conversation, and it's happening very loudly right now, which is not always like in real form. There could be some really cool things. And I think there's questions that the everyday people should be asking ourselves. Like David's already saying, where is my money going? You look at the budget. The budget tells you where your money going. Are taxes fair for everyone? Do some people pay more than they share? Like, what is the tax rate for certain folks? Why do we spend so much on certain things but not other, like education and healthcare? Asking those questions. And how will new taxes affect me and my community, if should there be it? This is why the conversation of reform and, to me, reallocation is so important, because Virginia's population is steadily growing. People's needs are changing. Tax reform is going to ensure that money is allocated and spent where it's needed most, right? We're always talking about underfunded schools. We're always talking about improving transit. We're always talking about reducing the burden on families that are struggling to make ends meet. Without reform or reallocation, some communities could be left behind while others are thriving. And taxes are about fairness. If we can just get to that point where we're able to do it, taxes are about fairness, ensuring that everybody benefits from a system that we all contribute to. Highlight. Everybody should benefit from a system to which we contribute to. That's why you see the conversation about regressive tax, meaning that the ones among us with the least are paying the most and getting the least, right? So it's a thing. And I think, like I said, I wanted to bring this to you all just so you know that these conversations are being had. And I think it's beautiful, not only that they're being had, but that we start asking questions of ourselves and of our leadership, but not just asking questions, asking the right questions, seeing who is involved. There's always the earned income tax credit that has been, the people have been trying to get on the table, child care tax credit, things like that, getting involved and figuring out how do we get the money for the thing that matters the most to you? How, right? What tax does that come from? Does it come from a sales tax? Does it come from a gas tax? Does it come from income taxes? That is the first question, is the thing that matters to you, the most to you. How are we funding it? By which way, right? That'll help you understand that when you're at the cash register, when you're paying that property tax bill, when you're paying when you're buying that lotion. I said lotion because my elbow's ashy. When you're buying that lotion, you paying that tax or eating that food out at the restaurant or at the grocery store, where that is going, right? I think that we need to make sure that Virginia is a place where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. And the question to you, I guess, that are still hanging here with us is, what would you want? What would you want lawmakers to prioritize with your tax dollars? And that is a real question. What would you want? I'm genuinely asking. I'll say it again. What would you want lawmakers to prioritize with your tax dollars? That's a real question. I see there's some people still here with us. As we get ready to wrap it up, that's the question, is what do we want? Because the thing about taxes, y'all, it's inevitable. It's a thing. Like, in order to sustain this thing we call governance. It's a thing that we're all going to pay into, that we all do. Cigarette taxes and uh, taxes on the ice cream and all these things. So it's something we all pay into. It's just, like I said, knowing what is a priority for you. I really think that we need to take a deep look at our system, right? In Virginia, really do. Like David brought up some really amazing things, right? That the local level that you can see and feel. Like I said, you probably feel that pinch there the most. If you notice when we talk about public schools, you hear a lot of, and please drop it in the chat, is where do you want your lawmakers to prioritize your dollars, or where do you hope to see some tax reform or some tax changes, reallocation? I was going to say something. I just lost my thought. Yeah, that's what really matters, is what is it that what's your expectation? And I think once we get to a point of what we expect lawmakers to do, and we get more people understanding how this policy works, we may be doing some different things. Today might have been a little bit of, but I'm grateful to have you all today. I'm looking forward to heading up to session as we still continue to talk about the things that are super important. That'll be high on the list. That has been in the hopper. I'll say this particular issue, I think you're going to hear more about it. I think you're going to see a lot of conversations between the legislative and executive branch. I am preparing myself to leave my legislative agenda. We should on Sunday, just for everybody to know, Sunday, January 5th from 1 to 3 at Maker's Craft Brewing, we'll be having a send-off. And as we sort of send ourselves off, get ready for the session, and also get ready to come back because we're back on the ballot for re-election. So that'll be a whole thing. So I'd love to see you all there Sunday, January 5th at Maker's Craft. Tell a friend, because we are here to educate, advocate, celebrate. You ain't even got to be on the same team, repping the same flag. We just trying to do the thing. Hold on. David said reducing violent crime by changing culture. Yeah. Culture shift is something that takes a lot of time, and it takes more than $1 investment. It takes I think time. He's David James Glass said he wants to reduce violent crime by changing culture. I think our violent crime numbers have gone down too. I'll have to double check. I'm sort of looking as we get ready for the next election. Next year, both our sheriff and our Commonwealth's attorney will be on the ballot. So I'm also looking at like what's happening in our jails, what's happening in our streets, and what have we seen over the past 6 years that we can hold accountable to see how is violent crime going down. And yeah. I look weird when I'm rolling my eyes. David James Glass also said, starting with cleaning up your neighborhoods. When you look good, you feel good. Yes, I'm going to encourage you to, David, have you gotten connected to Keep Norfolk Beautiful? Have you gotten connected? So in the city of Norfolk, we have this organization called Keep Norfolk Beautiful. And we worked with them on several things in partnership with like doing community cleanups. It's a program that's run by the city. It whether you want to reduce litter, or you want to reduce recycle right, or just beautify your space and place through education and volunteerism. That's what this Keep Norfolk Beautiful is about. Let me say, they'll come and bring, like, they'll give you buckets, and then they'll coordinate they will coordinate the trash cleanup. I know you won't be able to click this link, but I'm just putting it there in the event that you want to be able. Oh no, it did it. It did this thing. I can't stand when the thing does this. Gosh, I hate when it does this. I'm going back. Hold up. I just lost Instagram. I hate when that happens. Hate when that happens. I lost it. It's fine. Okay. So let's wrap it up. But yes, keep Norfolk beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. But that's always an opportunity. So until next time, I'll go ahead and wrap things up. We've been here a little bit long. I am Jackie Glass, Mama, Navy vet, certified doer, and the laced up legislator for the House of Delegates, 93rd District. Very honored, very proud to serve, hoping that you all are going to make it a great day. Be well, be kind to yourself. Hopefully, I'll see you in the streets or maybe on January 5th. January 5th, Maker's Craft Brewery, 1 to 3. After you get out of church or after you finally wake up from that long Sunday nap or doing your laundry or whatever it is you want to do. I'm probably going to be raking these leaves. Probably going to be raking these leaves because that's a whole thing. But I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Be well. Bye.